Welcome to Studio 51. I'm Caitlin McMurray.
And I'm Mary Sugden. Studio 51 is a weekly news magazine produced by Loyola University students in Chicago. We're called Studio 51 because we are located on 51 East Pearson in this beautiful street studio in downtown Chicago.
You won't want to miss a minute of our show this week. We have a special report on immigration, our point-counterpoint segment debates a new Chicago plan to end homelessness, and a follow-up on a story we brought you last week on the relocation of the Loyola student newspaper.
Our resident foodie gets a sneak peek of the bar opening on Lakeshore campus this weekend. Our health segment gives the latest on a new cancer research study. And looking for a job? Our techie has a new app to make job hunting easier. All that and more.
But first, here's Studio 51's news roundup with Stephanie Skelnick.
Thanks, Caitlin. It looks like Noah's Ark out there. There's been so much rain that the National Weather Service issued a flash flood warning for the Chicago area. According to media outlets, over 700 flights at O'Hare Airport were canceled. Several expressways were shut down temporarily. There were major delays with the metro, and some suburban schools completely closed down Thursday. In an unusual move, officials reversed the flow of the Chicago River to ease flooding. 3 locks were opened Thursday morning to reverse the flow of water into Lake Michigan because reservoirs were full. The major story this week, of course, was in Boston. Tragedy struck Monday when 2 bombs went off near the finish line of the Boston Marathon. More than 170 people were injured, some needed amputations. 3 people died, including an 8-year-old boy. Thus far, no one has claimed responsibility. The FBI and other investigators are pouring through surveillance videos and other tips. No one has been arrested. Meanwhile, President Obama and the First Lady attended a service honoring the victims in Boston Thursday morning. On Wednesday, quite a blow to gun control advocates. The Senate rejected a bipartisan plan to expand background checks for potential gun buyers. The vote for the plan was 54 to 46. 60 total votes were needed for the amendment to be approved. Following the gun control defeat, President Obama called it a shameful day for Washington and said the effort is not over. Closer to home, the Chicago Cubs and the city revealed details of a $500 million plan to renovate historic Wrigley Field on Monday. We'll have more on this story with a special report later on in the show. One issue that continues to press Congress and the American public is immigration. Several proposals are now before congressional committees, and here in Chicago, immigration is a huge economic and social issue. Here with a special report for Studio 51 is Lauren Lopez.
These men are not just hanging out near this gas station on the northwest side. They are undocumented immigrants who can't find work other than to stand here from early morning to late afternoon waiting for someone to pull up and hire them for a day.
We come from faraway lands, leaving our family behind to pursue our American dream. Our American dream is to work.
Coming into this country with permanent residency already established isn't as easy as it used to be. Once an immediate family member has submitted the paperwork petitioning for your residency, the process can take up to 10 years. Many immigrants today cross our borders illegally in search of a better life. However, without proper documentation, it's very hard for them to find jobs.
Manuel has been here for 7 years and says he only wants to provide for his family and give his children a better life.
We didn't come here to steal jobs from Americans like many people think. We are in this country to bless this country through work, honorable work. We've come from very far away with dignity to work only, to work to be able to help our generations, our children.
Daisy's story is different. She was one of many Hondurans given temporary work visas when her country suffered a severe natural disaster. When Hurricane Mitch hit Honduras in 1998, it destroyed more than 30,000 houses, damaged 50,000 more, and wiped out more than 70% of the country's crops. Daisy hopes a reform will give her the chance she's waited 15 years for, to finally become a permanent resident.
I have the TPS and would like it if there was an opportunity for all of us immigrants who are here. A just law to be passed that would be convenient for all of our Hispanics and that would make all of our dreams of being here legally a reality.
That dream has been a reality for Diana, who has been here for 40 years. She remembers how much easier it was to immigrate to this country back then.
My brother petitioned my mother in 1972. My mother petitioned myself and my siblings, and within a year we were all here in 1973 with a permanent residency.
Permanent residency is also what the men at this gas station are hoping for. They represent the 525,000 illegal immigrants in Illinois and more than 11 million nationwide who hope that immigration reform will finally give them the chance to become residents, then citizens of the United States. Reporting for Studio 51 News, I'm Lauren Lopez.
Thank you, Lauren. And finally, a bar that doesn't serve alcohol? That is what business owner Chris Reed has founded in Crystal Lake. According to the Tribune, Reed is 3 years sober and wanted to build a place he and his friends could enjoy without endangering their sobriety. It will have TVs, music, pool tables, and a bar, just no alcohol. The nightclub, named The Other Side, opens at the end of April. This has been your News Roundup. I'm Stephanie Skelnick.
Thanks, Stephanie. Well, last week we covered a story on the planned move of the Loyola Phoenix down to Water Tower campus. To gain more perspective, today we are joined by Student Media Manager Ralph Brasseth. Ralph, thank you so much for joining us.
Glad to be here.
So last week we learned the Phoenix reaction because we interviewed Tahir Rahman, the editor-in-chief, and Caitlin Wilson, who's a copy editor at the Phoenix, and they shared that their biggest issue with the move was that the lack of transparency and communication with the administration. Originally, they had been told they'd have a spot in the Damon Center by administration, but that kind of changed, and now they're moving down to the Water Tower campus. The students felt that they've never gotten a real answer from administration and that the issue just wasn't handled properly. So as the student media manager, can you comment on this? Do you feel it was a transparency issue and was it handled properly?
Well, yes, no, yes, yes, no. It wasn't handled properly, and part of that had to do with me. When you have a problem, the first thing that you need to do is address people personally. And I didn't do that as I should have. I didn't have anything to do with the choice regarding, real estate, where they were going to be located. But the fact that the students didn't have a say in it, that's really not the way we should be doing business in Loyola. And I think that opened the eyes of a lot of people. For me, it's just one of those things where it's, sometimes students teach teachers, and you got to apologize and take your gut punch and, hope you do better.
Definitely. Well, briefly, can you maybe comment on how you think this is going to change the structure and the production of the Phoenix now that it will be located at the Water Tower campus?
Initially, I had a discussion with the students on Sunday, and there's a lot of angst and still probably anger. And so the first thing that we got to do is try and find a way to address that. And then it is going to be problematic because there are so many changes that are going to take place when we come down here. We're going to be focusing online and still producing a newspaper in a brand new place. And so logistically, we're not going to have all that figured out. The students are going to be sort of, I think, going blind for a couple of months before you get it down, and I think that's to be expected. I think they'll probably end up doing a really good job. And one of the nice things about okay, there's a lot of negatives to this story. One of the nice things is they're going to come down here to a really nice newsroom with some really nice equipment. And right now, that doesn't feel like much of a bonus to anybody, but I think it will begin to feel like that, after a little while.
Definitely. Well, we wish you all the luck in this next coming year. Ralph Brasseth, Student Media Manager, thank you so much for giving up your time for us.
I appreciate you giving me the time.
All right. And as always, we want you to share with us your feelings, so you can email us at studio51news@gmail.com or tweet us at Studio51News.
A major story this week was the contaminated letters sent to President Obama and U.S. Senator. Our Health Beat reporter, Kristen Immel, has more on this story and others. Kristen, take it away.
Thanks, Caitlin. A new study hopes to find the key to cancer prevention. The American Cancer Society has announced researchers will track the health of 300,000 participants for decades. To take part in this study, you must be between 30 and 65 and be cancer-free. Participants will fill out health and habit surveys, give blood samples, and waist measurements. Researchers will track their progress over several years. The study still needs 100,000 participants nationwide. Chicago enrollment begins in August. If you're interested, contact the American Cancer Society. Also this week, federal agents arrested a man suspected of sending President Obama and U.S. Senator letters laced with the poison ricin. But what exactly is ricin, and what kind of damage can it do? Ricin is a highly toxic byproduct of processing castor beans. When inhaled or ingested, ricin affects the respiratory and circulatory systems, which can kill within 36 to 48 hours. However, according to the Baylor College of Medicine, medical experts say ricin is nowhere near as powerful as anthrax. And finally, looking for your health fix around campus? Loyola's 2013 edition of the Mosaic has been released this week. And what's the focus of the 10th anniversary issue? You guessed it, it's all about health. So pick up your copy around campus now. This has been your Health Beat. I'm Kristen Immel.
Thanks, Kristen. After the break, our techie takes a look at a helpful new app for all you college graduates.
And of course, we can't forget about the stellar week in sports. Find out who Loyola's new women's basketball coach is, That and more after the break.
Hi, I'm Penny Nelson, and I just got back from hanging out with my favorite couple, Mark and Steven. They are so cute. I can definitely see them getting married one day. But wait, they can't. Because same-sex marriage isn't legalized in the great state of Illinois. Only 9 states have legalized same-sex marriage, and Illinois can become the 10th if the House of Representatives passes it. What? You can't picture a same-sex couple? Thanks. Well, here is a photo album of Mark and Steven. Here's them going to dinner, and here's them at the movies. Did you know that same-sex marriage brings financial gain to state and local governments in the forms of marriage licenses and higher income taxes? That means one thing. Money! But what if one of them got sick? They need the same benefits as heterosexual couples. In conclusion, my friends and I would love it if same-sex marriage was legalized. We hope you have the same understanding.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. Well, Caitlin, graduation is just around the corner, as I'm sure you're aware of as a senior. So how has your job search been going so far?
Well, it's been a struggle so far, definitely. But our techie Jason Weeder might have good news for us.
All right, sounds good.
Jason, what's this all about?
Thanks, ladies. Well, this next step is for all the soon-to-be graduates out there or anybody looking for a job. It's called Job Aware, and it's an easy-to-use way to keep on top of all of the latest job listings. Suppose you want to find a job in broadcasting. Just type in the search menu and choose from a variety of different jobs in different cities near you. You can even do nationwide searches or find which city has the most jobs in your field. To track specific jobs, find and click on the track button. You can categorize the job by adding it to a specific folder depending on your choice. And once the listing is tracked, all you need to do is click on the corresponding folder and the listing is right there. But let's say you want to work with somebody you already know. You can sync the app with your LinkedIn contacts and choose from potential jobs at companies where your connections already work. You can even make changes to your resume and cover letter. Job Aware is available for iPhone and iPad and online at jobaware.com. And if you know of any new and exciting apps, we want to hear from you. So drop us a line at studio51news@gmail.com. And that'll do it for this week's Tech Talk. For Studio 51, I'm Jason Weeder.
Thanks, Jason. Well, that sounds like a helpful app. I guess we'll have to check that out.
Definitely. Well, there's been a lot of hype about the new women's basketball coach at Loyola. For that and more, let's turn to sports in 51 seconds with Dominique Stem.
Thanks, ladies. Well, it's been a big week in sports and a great week for women. On Monday, the WNBA draft took place, and to no surprise, Baylor's Brittany Griner was the #1 draft pick, going to the Phoenix Mercury. The Chicago Sky, who were second, picked up Ella Del Don from the University of Delaware, and Skylar Diggins from Notre Dame went third to the Tulsa Shock. And it's been a great week for Loyola's women's basketball, too. Cheryl Swoops is Loyola's new women's basketball coach. This is huge. Not only is Cheryl Swoops the best women's basketball player of all time, but she's also the first, you heard that right, first basketball player to have her own shoe by Nike, the Air Swoops. Some of you guys' favorite NBA players don't even have their own shoe. So she's a pretty big deal, and it's a big deal for Loyola. Let's hope she can win us a championship with that shoe, and then maybe we can get our own shoe. The Air Rambler? Maybe not. Finally, the NBA playoffs start Saturday. Let me be the first to tell you that I can't wait. The Heat have the #1 seed in the East, and the Thunder have the #1 seed in the West. The Bulls take the 5th seed and are taking on the Brooklyn Nets, who have the 4th seed, at the Barclays Center this Saturday. And today, the Blackhawks take on the Nashville Predators at the United Center. But they've been on a 6-game winning streak, so I'm sure we can hold them off. And the White Sox take on the Toronto Blue Jays. Looks like I'm out of time. I'm Dominique Stem, your sports superfan. And as always, go Blackhawks, go Sox, and of course, go Bulls.
Thanks, Dominique. Wrigley Field is another big story this week, not only in sports, but it's a major political and community curveball.
Our sister production, Rambler Sports Locker, is all over this issue. Studio 51's Sean Keenahan talked with Sports Locker reporter Joe Flaherty, who has some interesting insights.
There's been a lot of discussions in recent months about renovations to Wrigley Field. Joining me today is Joe Flaherty from the Rambler Sports Locker, who's also an employee for the Chicago Cubs. He's going to tell us some more. So, Joe, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Can you give us some more details? Tell us what's going on at Wrigley Field.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like they have the framework of a deal in place. It's not the definitive deal just yet, but the Cubs have the framework of a deal in place with the city of Chicago to go ahead with their $500 million renovation plans. And that includes a $200 million boutique hotel outside of the stadium, which includes new player amenities, new office buildings, new parking, and also inside the stadium where the concessions will be revamped. It'll produce a more fan-friendly environment. All of the amenities will be brought into the 21st century finally. And it seems like the consensus is everyone's very happy about that, as well as the additional amount of night games. It's the thing that is throwing people off is the Jumbotron proposal in left field, which is going to block some of the views potentially block some of the views from some of the rooftops. So that's what the ongoing negotiations are going to be about in the coming days, whether they're going to put up that Jumbotron, where they're going to put it, how they're going to minimally block views to make everyone happy.
Now, there were discussions about heading to Rosemont. What has the fan reaction been to these negotiations?
The fans love that Tom Ricketts and the Cubs are committed to the Wrigleyville neighborhood and the tradition of Wrigleyville and Wrigley itself. They're going to try to keep everything, the feel, the tradition of Wrigley, the red marquee, the ivy, the scoreboard. They're going to try to keep all that, but bring everything up around it so that the mystique matches the amenities.
Now, I understand you provided us a clip, so we're going to roll this clip and see some of the fan reactions.
Absolutely. As long as you keep it the same way, but modernize it, yeah.
I think we were in favor of the renovations because A, the ballpark needs it, and B, to make it a lot more fan-friendly.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it helps the team, you know, as far as financially to help build a better product for the team, then yeah, I'm totally for it.
I contacted many rooftop and local business owners for their reaction to the agreement, but due to the nature of the situation, most were unavailable for comment. I was able to obtain a written statement from the public relations manager of Murphy's Bleachers, Ryan McLaughlin. In the email, McLaughlin said, quote, "No community process, city ordinance, or agreement without our consent can or should dismiss contractual rights guaranteed to us by the Chicago Cubs in 2004. Rooftop owners reserve the right to use any and all means necessary to enforce the remaining 11 years of our 20-year contract," end quote. In full disclosure, I am a seasonal employee of the Chicago Cubs, but that had no bearing on the fact-gathering process for this report.
Joe, excellent stuff. Now, at this point, what's next?
Well, unfortunately for the Cubs, it might be a court date. Like I said, with the Jumbotron, the rooftops actually have a deal with the Cubs. It's a 20-year deal, and there's 11 years left on the contract. And the rooftop are going to do anything and everything they can to enforce that contract, which might mean a lengthy and pricey litigation process. So we'll see how it goes.
All right, you heard it here first at Studio 51. Joe, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You can watch a Rambler Sports Locker on YouTube, visit their Facebook page, send it back to the decks.
Thanks, Sean and Joe. Let us know your thoughts on the Wrigley Field controversy. You can email us at studio51news@gmail.com, or you can tweet us at Studio51News.
Coming up, our Point Counterpoint segment talks about a Chicago plan to end homelessness.
And our resident foodie takes on a first-hand look at a new social hub near campus. And is it ever going to stop raining? Well, we'll have a weekend weather forecast after the break. Stay with us.
You're young. You're in college. We get it. You're gonna drink. But how much? Be smart. Think when you drink.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Is this the Phoenix Loyalist Student Newspaper?
Yes.
I'm near your headquarters. Mind if I drop in?
Absolutely. Our offices are in the basement of the CFSU.
Yikes.
Where are you?
Phoenix? Arizona?
You know, becoming a part of the Phoenix isn't that difficult. It's actually quite easy. Give us a call, shoot us an email. Who knows? You might even win yourself one of these bad boys. Could change your life.
Welcome back. Everyone who's familiar with Loyola knows that Hamilton's was the university watering hole.
And while many students mourn the passing of Hamilton's, there's a new kid on the block. Our resident foodie, Tahira Rahman, got a sneak peek.
Edgewater's newest restaurant is just steps from Loyola's Lakeshore campus. 63 Bar and Grill opens Friday, but the owners gave Studio 51 the first taste.
63 Bar and Girls' name is a salute to Loyola's 1963 men's basketball team, the only team in the school's history to win an NCAA championship. But whether you're a champion athlete or an overworked college student, this restaurant offers something for everyone. Priced from $3 to $10, the menu allows you to save your student pennies or splurge if it's on your parents' dime.
Along with your favorite bar comfort foods and drinks, Bar 63 and Grill offers some new favorites. Here we've got the grilled salmon sandwich, portobello mushroom sandwich, and a really big Greek salad.
The salmon was well done with a slight crunch. The pickled red onion was the sweet counterpart to the fresh, tangy tomato. I thought I found a new favorite Sammy. That is, until I tried the portobello mushroom sandwich. Salty feta cheese with roasted red peppers and a spicy sauce. I thought the spice added a welcome kick, but if you have more sensitive taste buds, approach with caution. The Greek salad was pretty standard, but the waffle fries were perfectly crisp. Paired with the sandwich, the meal was portioned just right. I could also taste the excitement in the air, which I attribute to the feel-good playlist and staff enthusiasm. Bar manager Shiming Chen says he can't wait to open a new hub for both students and area residents.
Just come in there, have a good time. We want to show you a good time, and we expect you to come in and have a good time.
How's this for a good time? Relax in big leather couches, catch the game on one of the many flat-screen TVs, get your arcade fix or explore the interactive jukebox, enjoy nightly live music and a DJ. Ready or not, there was definitely a cool and energetic vibe here. For now, 63 Bar is only open for lunch Friday through Sunday and operates from 3 p.m. to 2 a.m. on weekdays.
This location was previously occupied by Hamilton's Bar and Grill, a Loyola student favorite until it closed down in October of last year. But with the new 63 Bar and Grill, Loyola students will now be able to take their old memories and build a new legacy. For Studio 51, I'm your foodie, Tahira Rahman.
Thanks, Tahira. Every week outside our studio and in the city of Chicago, we see them. We're talking about the city's homeless population.
This week's Point Counterpoint debates a new initiative designed to eliminate homelessness in Chicago. Here's Sean Keenahan and Caitlin Wilson. Take it away.
In 2013, the Chicago Alliance to End Homelessness has launched Plan 2.0, a revised 7-year plan that lays out 7 strategic priorities to end homelessness.
So let's take a look at some of these key factors and see if it's going to be a realistic plan or not. Sean, what do you think?
I'll tell you what, some individuals have just lost their jobs, they've gone through some tough financial times, they just need a bit of financial support in order to keep a roof over their heads. I'm all for the housing first, getting house, staying house approach of the Chicago Alliance.
I mean, I do understand that. I think if people just need help with keeping a roof over their heads, that does make sense. But we need to remember that people have different needs, and over a quarter of Chicago's homeless have some kind of mental disability or are struggling with some kind of substance abuse. So we need to talk about some kind of medical support for them before they get into permanent housing.
Okay, now the Chicago Alliance does have what they offer, which are wraparound services. So this includes things like mental health services, includes substance abuse treatment, child care treatment. So it's a higher focus also on job training as well as employment, so individuals can learn to make a livable wage.
Okay, that does make sense, but right now the city of Chicago is spending $48 million on homelessness this year, which is more than ever before, but it's still not enough. So this is just a lot of money to spend on a plan that we're not sure about.
With all the cutting in social services, I'll tell you what, I'd rather see that $48 million number just keep rising. And it's cheaper to actually keep somebody from becoming homeless rather than trying to find them a home after they become homeless, not to mention the human costs. So it can be a very traumatic experience for an individual to become homeless, and now we can save that therapeutic cost later.
Well, there's no discounting that it would be a large human cost, but right now I'm just waiting for the plan to live up to the hype. So we'll see what happens. I hope it works, but I'm not sold.
Well, you can always go online and visit for yourself and find out how you can become involved at www.thechicagoalliance.org.
Join us next week as we heat up
or cool down controversial topics.
I'm Caitlin Wilson.
I'm Sean Keenahan. Back to you guys in the desk.
Thanks, Sean and Caitlin. It's been raining cats and dogs this week. Will we be able to get outside this weekend?
Hopefully, Studio 51's Stephanie Sanford has some good news for us this weekend.
Well, folks, the temperatures are getting warmer and Chicago is getting more than its fair share of April showers. On Friday, there's a chance of rain with wind up to 25 miles per hour, so wear some waterproof gear, and an umbrella might not be enough. The high will be 46 with a low of 32. On Saturday, it might be a nice day to head outside with a jacket. It will be mostly sunny with a high of 49 and a low of 35. To round out the weekend, expect more rain on Sunday with a high of 58 and a low of 44. The month of April isn't over yet, so hopefully we'll get a few more warm and sunny days in the future. I'm Stephanie Sanford, and that's your weekend weather. Back to you, Caitlin and Mary.
Thanks, Stephanie. Well, it is Chicago, so by the end of the day, the forecast might change.
We can only hope. As always, we want to know what you think. Email us at studio51news@gmail.com or follow us at Twitter at Studio51News.
That's all we have for this week. Join us next week for our last show of the season. I'm Caitlin McMurray.
And I'm Mary Sugden. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you next week.